people were stupid. People were ignorant of that. People are more educated now. People are smarter. Basically, what we want to do is touch on these issues, and for me to obviously add my input. A lot of you have never heard of me, some of you have. I've become a hemp activist because I believe that I personally was robbed by the petrochemical companies long before I was born, as the rest of the citizens of the United States have also been lied to, deprived of, and endangered by the petrochemical industry. They have put everything in their own self-interest and not just misled this country, but they have also influenced and misled the whole world. And the belief of hemp being a plant that is harmful to someone is outrageous, when in 1937 the popular mechanics called it the new billion-dollar industry, which would have took us directly out of the Depression, but instead of our government having the initiative to bring us out of darkness and out of a depression, they chose to push us further into a depression so that our nation would be easier to manage as a beaten, less proud people and a more desperate people for any kind of influence and solutions that may be offered at the time by people in power and the people with money, since there were so few of them left at the time of the Depression. They had a stronger base on which to conform the government within their own agendas. The purpose of this video in the first place is to actually educate the American public. If there's only one voice, if there's 100 voices, there are more and more people speaking out, making videos on YouTube, bringing up their own websites, such as my website that I've put out, Hempblog.info. You can find many true facts. It doesn't cost anything to visit this website. There's no spyware, there's no adware, there's nothing but the truth and the available facts for the American public. It is an information site, not a site where you would feel endangered by, nor spied upon, or anything else. The information in our country has been withheld from us, and because offices such as the CIA and other government agencies choose to keep us uninformed so that they may better guide us in their decisions according to their agenda instead of the agenda of the American public. The American public has a right to know. The world has a right to know that long before the days of crude oil, there was hemp. Hemp dominated our textile market, our energy market, our biomass market, our building market. It was even above the market of pulpwood or trees for paper. And it has only been in the last 73 years that they've been able to accomplish this and keep us in the dark. I believe that a century is long enough for the American people to keep their eyes and stop turning away from the truth and actually realize and wake up that these things need to be addressed. We need to let our congressmen know, we need to let our legislatures know, we need to let our government know that we're not going to stand for this lie anymore, and we want the truth brought out, and we believe those that were responsible should be held accountable. It's totally unreasonable that these people should get away with what they've done to not just the American public, but to the whole world. They are directly responsible for the health and welfare and well-being of every citizen on this planet. I believe that hemp will be a way to turn back to. It'll be a way to see our future grow. We would be green again instead of being held in pollution. There would be less lung cancer because of pollution. There would be a lot less disease because of the petrochemical industries, the diseases that they have directly caused because of their byproducts and their products and their pollution. I believe that we all need to take a stand. Brainwashing. It's actually been done by the Soviet Union for years. The U.S. government just took lessons, thanks to the CIA help. The original combustion engine was developed 30 years before crude oil. Not many people know this. The original combustion engine was not designed to run on gasoline. Many places in history claim that Henry Ford was the first one to produce the car, and it's misguided that he used a gasoline engine for his first car, the Model T. In fact, what they neglect to tell you is the truth of the methanol fuel that was originally used by the original horseless carriage long before crude oil was developed. The car by Henry Ford was built from hemp. The car parts for the motor were made from hemp. The body, the paint, everything to do with it had to do with hemp. Even Harvey Firestone, who developed the tires for Henry Ford, even then used not just the rubber tree plant as a fiber, but he also used the cordage in hemp to develop the actual tire that actually went on Henry Ford's cars as well. Rudolf Diesel, originally made his diesel engine back in 1891 and entered into the 1900s World Fair and ran that off of peanut oil. Later, George Schlichten invented the quarter catting machine, which enabled diesel engines to run off of hemp seed oil. These are clean products, clean fuels, green fuels, and we have been denied the right to use these clean fuels and been forced as a people of the world to depend on fossil fuels, which are totally polluting. They knew they were polluting. They knew what they were getting into when they were introducing these chemicals into our world, into our society, into our water, into our air, and they've gotten away with it by directly playing on people's fears of anything that they chose to mold at the time. Since hemp was an 80% factor in their profiteering of their industry, hemp was a direct threat to the crude oil industry. So hemp had to go. They made it so that hemp had to be illegal so that way they could eliminate the 80% threat against their market, and crude oil would take its place, and we would depend 100% as a monopoly on crude oil. We were forced into a monopoly. There was different organizations that broke apart. There were specific oil companies, but they still all dealt with the Central Crude Authority. Nowadays they call it OPEC.